paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. And I have to say, this is a special episode. They all are, of course, but this is a special episode because this week, we were wrong. You guys, the three of us, we were incorrect. If you listened to last week's podcast, if you haven't, you should, but last week we podcasted, and we said something about how nobody knew was listening. I think we did intros. Jason DJ say no one knew's listening. What's happening? Well, we put out a call to listeners. If you are listening to your first episode, to let us know. And I'll tell you what, we've got a couple emails here we're going to start with.
From liars.
Maybe. Here we go. First one's from Chris Lee. Emails to brainstormbrew@gmail.com. Hey, guys.
We're reading these now? Is that
I'm a liar.
Is that the thing? Is that the new bit? The people who are listening to the first time, they don't know that you're supposed to read the emails. Is that the thing?
I'm the email guy. Look, hey guys.
Did you spend 25 minutes like unlocking your Da Vinci coded laptop to like access these emails?
Yeah, man, it's important to keep your laptops air gapped these days.
I like how DJ thinks
know.
the Da Vinci Code was just like a password.
It was just like a very complicated one, right?
I never read the book nor saw the movie.
I don't remember. I don't think the Da Vinci Code was a literal code.
It was probably
it was like a puzzle. It was a puzzle, right?
It's probably like a cipher or something, right?
Yeah.
You know, like a code.
The energy that comes off of you being mad about us not having seen this is what fuels this podcast, by the way. And by I mean...
I read the Da Vinci Code in 2003.
I mean the listener. The listener. The person who's like slamming their fist on the steering wheel while stuck in LA traffic. Yeah, like... going like, how did they not see this movie / read this audiobook? Like, yeah, like that's what...
audiobook.
You're...
What is Zoomer?
Read this audiobook. Love it.
I was born in 1994, therefore I am a millennial. We've been over this.
Wow, just barely, though.
There's two kinds of media. There's podcasts and audiobooks. Did you know they used to have analog forms of audiobooks? I don't remember what they're called, but ancient people born before 1998 used to look at them, and they used to listen to them with their eyes.
Yep, we're on a roll.
They're called analog audiobooks.
And they listen to them with their eyes.
It's like a bunch of tweets on paper.
Well, welcome into the show, everybody. And
Chapter 1 of Moby Dick, thread, : 1
of X. Call me Ishmael. Call me at Ishmael.
Well, the good news is Chris Lee was listening for the first time. He said, I just figured I'd prove one of you correct. I think that someone was me. Chris says, I found the podcast after hearing DJ mention it on a Command Zone episode. I paused it right after you said email in, so I don't even know if I like it yet. I don't find my podcast through algorithms, only by word of mouth from other podcasts and their guests. I'm an old magic boomer who loves brewing and playing kitchen table magic with my friends. Commander Draft Sealed, so on. Can't wait to listen to the episode, then go back through 440 of back catalog, picking and choosing, basing solely on titles. Have a great weekend, Chris. But you know what? That's not all. John Smith sent us an email. Hey guys, got a chuckle at the beginning of the show. My buddy recommended I take a listen. Not sure how I can prove. It's my first episode. I'm doing a 5K walk on the treadmill right now. Bought some of your bulk recommendations and hopefully they'll pan out. I signed up to be a Patreon at patreon.com/BSB. I've been playing since 95 and have a dream of opening my own LGS when I retire from the military. Thanks for the show and you've got a new listener, John Smith. John, thank you for sending in the email. Thank you for listening. Word of advice, don't open up an LGS. That's the advice I'll give you, having been through that myself. But there you go, guys. You
don't
didn't
open
believe
an
it.
LGS in rural Oklahoma. That's
I was gonna say
rural,
don't be Corbin.
yeah.
That wasn't don't open an LGS. That was don't be Corbin Hostler and open an LGS.
You're right. Most LGSs are thriving. Anybody, welcome to the show, everybody.
Post-COVID.
Statistically, every LGS that is open right now is not owned by a Corbin hostler.
True. That is maybe
and all
correct.
The ones,
and all the ones that... Some of the ones that are closed were owned by Corbin, but all the ones that are open were not. Therefore, I think we have enough data to say that you're the problem.
Yep. True 50-50 there. That makes total sense. Well, everybody, it is time for the show, and we've got Modern Horizons to go deep on. We're going to talk about Commander with that. We've got all the usual segments. There is a lot going on.
Don't say Commander.
In Magic. EDH, I'm sorry. It was for the algorithm.
Look, okay, so when I write articles, I have to say Commander, and I hate it. But this is my spot where I get to be myself, you know? And I get to feel like I can stretch out and be authentically the kind of content creator I want to be. If I want to say EDH on my podcast, I'm going to say EDH. I would prefer that you just didn't call it Commander. I still don't like calling it Commander. Feels like a compromise to the man to me. I'm not afraid of the company that owns the rights to the Highlander movies, because they made the inexcusable Highlander 2, a movie that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel like it's canon with Highlander 1. It was really bad. And if you're going to make a movie that bad, you shouldn't jam people up for calling their game Highlander. So CDH.
So I've never seen either of those movies, as everybody knows, but I know the one line from that movie that matters, the one line from the movie that made EDH, and like, doesn't that negate the premise of Highlander 2?
Yes.
It's not there could be only one movie.
It doesn't specify. There could only be one.
Only be one.
Period.
Yeah.
It's not only be one. It's there can be only one.
Okay, whatever.
That still negates the premise of a sequel.
And there were two Highlanders, so there was Adrian Paul and there was Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, but here's the thing: at the end of the first movie,
they're both Highlanders.
At the end of the first movie, does he not get rid of the other Highlander? Therefore,
there was one from the movies and one from the TV show.
What?
There was a TV show Highlander went for 7 seasons, and Adrian Paul was the Highlander, and he was the cousin. He was Connor McLeod, and Duncan McLeod was the guy from the movies. No, Duncan McLeod was on the TV show. Connor McLeod was in the movie. Yeah,
dude, nobody cares.
They're both Highlanders. Oh! It went for 7 seasons, and Adrian Paul was Time Magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year in 1996. Because nobody cares about Highlander.
DJ was 2.
I was, or 3.
Or could be 3. Could have been 3.
And Adrian Paul was sexy. And you were not, because you were still shitting yourself, probably.
I'm just a little confused. If there can be only one, do the cousins have to kill each other?
Eventually. They're trying to make it so they're the last 2, I think. I don't know. Not everybody's as interested in being the last one, right?
Why can there be only one?
Just wanted to... okay, there's this power called the quickening, and when you kill another person that's an immortal by cutting off their head, you get the power of their quickening, so you get stronger. So some people are like, oh, if I kill all the other immortals, I'll get stronger until I'm like the ultimate being and I can take over the world. And some of the immortals are like, I'm not really interested in that, and I'll only kill somebody and take their quickening if I have no other choice, which happens to Adrian Paul every episode for 7 years.
So what if it got to the end and it was just him and his cousin?
Then one of them would both be super strong and it would be awesome. And then
why couldn't they just stop though? Why couldn't you just stop it too?
They probably would. They probably wouldn't be like,
no,
there can be 2.
They can't. There can be only one.
Yeah, but like they can also just live forever.
I think the word vibe hadn't been invented by then, so that they couldn't just vibe with each other, because that was like, they didn't realize how to just vibe.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jason, the whole premise of this TV show, movie universe, it's just not adding up for me. But you know what always adds up for me? It's Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
That was a rough segue.
Beautiful segue. We have to get out of that talk somehow, and that is why
there can be only one segue, and that's not it.
That's why I have a DJ pick for y'all here. A real Inexpensive, but sometimes
Is it a rare or a token? There's 2 DJ picks.
It's an uncommon.
It's like, this is a $4 rare.
I guess what I mean is this card is a nickel on Violus, maybe occasionally a dime. It's a blue uncommon from Ether Revolt.
Is it the whenever you cast an artifact, you make a Thopter?
Hey, it is.
Virtuoso?
Nope. Efficient construction. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, make a Thopter. Yeah. 50-cent uncommon out of the set. I believe this is the only printing of the card. It's one of those, it costs 4 mana, so, it's kind of expensive, but it's gone up in price since it was printed, and it's 50 cents now, and it's the kind of card that may creep up to $1. It's a pretty solid pick to at least, pull out of your bulk, because it's a powerful effect.
Cool. We did it.
All right.
You
Jason?
talked more. You talked a long time, and it took no time to guess that. That was really underwhelming.
I was pretty quick, actually.
I'm just built different.
God.
Yeah, you finished quick. There's a lot of build up, and then. All right. Well, let's see if you can shoot us quick on this one. This is a gold apocalypse card. It's uncommon. Gold apocalypse uncommon.
Not a clue.
You should pick more bulk.
Is it
Didn't you talk about how you had an LGS and you're like, I've never seen an uncommon in my life.
Is it Soul Link?
It's not Soul Link. It is, in fact, is it colored?
Oh, Quicksilver Dagger?
No, that was common.
Is it the flip sliver?
What? That's
From
not
Apocalypse.
That's not from Apocalypse. That's not from the same decade as Apocalypse.
Yes,
I didn't know if it was
Apocalypse was like 2000 and 2005 was Time Spiral.
Something like that.
2006.
Well, I'm gonna define a decade as 2004 to 2014, so that doesn't count.
Okay, fair.
Got him.
Okay.
I don't know what this card is, though, Jason. I'll tell you that.
Squeeze Revenge.
What's it do?
Wait, why are you squeezing Revenge?
Get the f*** out of here. That's such a bad... Like, Morrow made a card called Squeeze Toy in Tempest, and he's like, get it? Squeeze Toy? And everyone's like, you couldn't have Squeeze Box? So it's at least like the Who reference? Whatever. Squeeze Revenge, you choose a number, you flip a coin that many times until you lose a flip. If you win all the flips, draw 2 cards for each flip.
I was right. It involved flipping.
This says you have a 50% chance of drawing 2 cards, and a 25% chance of drawing 4 cards. It's only good if all you really care about is flipping coins, which we do again because of Modern Horizons 2.
It's true, and we've got lots of Modern Horizons 2 coming up.
I sold Krark's Thumbs for $36.
Yep, and you probably you know how many times I've made money on Krark's Thumb? The same copies. I literally got the same Portuguese Teferi's puzzle box with a weird mark on it that I buy-listed at Card Kingdom. I bought it back from them, and I buy-listed them again. That is how
that's the dream, right?
They gave me an interest-free loan.
If you spend $36 on Krark's Thumb, how do you have any coins left to flip?
You have $4 worth of quarters left. You flip a Bitcoin.
You flip a Bitcoin. Now you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Flip that Bitcoin. You can't flip a Dogecoin. Your non-fiat currency is bull. So, speaking of, you can't flip a coin, but you can flip a Squeeze Revenge that you paid the bulk rate for, and then you get a sweet 50 cents on the buy list or whatever.
See, that was a good segue. Corbin, scribble notes. That was a good segue. Use the thing that you call a whiteboard behind you.
I need new dry erase markers, sadly. DJ, do you have a pick a
Stop
breaking
making
bulk
our
for us?
podcast look poor. Look, Corbin cannot afford a whole sweater vest or dry erase markers, and he's sitting on a non-rolling chair. Things are really dire for Corbin financially. We need you to go to patreon.com/BSB. for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee. $1 per month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode. But for less than one of your orange Frappuccino Starbucks things with 10 squirts of caramel that break the internet, you could buy Corbin Hostler some dry erase markers that he desperately needs to anchor this podcast.
I clearly do desperately need
instead of spending the money on those fat cat non-deserving orphans, what you could spend your 36 cents a month on is a 1/3 of
man.
Patreon subscription. Look, man, we've been sending them 36 cents a month, and they've been going to school. They've been digging wells. They've been making out like bandits. Who really needs it is Corbin. He doesn't have a dry erase marker.
I think Corbin also could technically be an orphan. He didn't know his mom.
Ooh.
It's true. I am adopted. DJ, do you have a pick of the week? Or a breaking bulk?
I have a Dark Steel uncommon that was reprinted a lot.
Skull
a significant
Clamp.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reprintings.
Skull Clamp.
No.
That's a terrible guess. Skull Clamp is like $7 right now.
Welding Jar.
No.
That was Mirrodin. It's uncommon?
It is a Dark Steel. It was common in Dark Steel and upshifted in every other later printing, which is a pretty big hint. So it's a common in Dark Steel, but it was upshifted every other time to uncommon.
What color is
Whisper
it?
Silk Cloak.
It's an artifact. I said it's an artifact. It is Whisper Silk
done.
Cloak.
Oh, there you go.
Whisper Silk Cloak was in Dark Steel, and then it was in 10th edition, and then it was in a dual deck, and then it was in Plane Chase 2012. So all those printings combined to make one half of one printing. And then it was in Commander. It was in Commander 2016. It was in a lot of stuff. Mystery Booster. But it has steadily climbed over the past year or so from the average of it used to be like a consistent couple dollars.
Yeah.
And now it is upwards of like 5 or 6 depending on the printing.
That's wild.
Zonkers. I mean, I get it. You put this on your creature and it can't be killed and can't be blocked. And it was common in Mirrodin block because there was a lot of artifact removal. And then they put it in other sets. It's like, yeah, people aren't made decking Shatter right now. And this just takes over limited. So they also just didn't know how to design equipment in Mirrodin block. They were just like, cranial plating? How bad could it be? Yeah.
They just didn't know how to design it. Locks it in Warhammer, it'll be fine at uncommon. It's not that broken. But yeah, I mean, people just don't like to interact.
Scale of Chisgoria and Locks it on Warhammer. We think these are both roughly the same in power level. And I guess when Molder Slug's running around, they are. So makes sense.
One of the biggest lessons of this card, the little addendum to the Breaking Bulk, is that most of the time, ancillary printings are worth more than the original printing. So, I mean, Plane Chase 2012, Commander 2016, 10th edition, these are all more expensive than the Darksteel version. The Darksteel version, the other part of this is that the Darksteel versions are usually played. Like, almost every card you get from Darksteel bulk is just wrecked. Like, people play this card on cardboard tables and whatnot. It was not great. And there's just so few printings of the other versions that they're usually worth a lot more, especially on platforms like Amazon or Direct. Sometimes you can just check the Direct listing for Plane Chase 2012 Whisper Silk Cloak, and it's like, oh, the lowest listing is $8.99. I guess I'll match it, and then it'll sell in a couple weeks. So like, you don't necessarily want to buy list these out for like 60% of retail, especially if you have like a wide variety of printings. Just like take a scattershot approach, list all of them at some absurd number, and then they'll eventually sell.
So what do you all think makes this card hold up? Do you think it's because it's an old card with a number of printings, even if some of them were smaller or older, but do you think it's the can't be blocked here, or you think it's the Shroud that drives the card?
Well, it's both. It's both. Like you're underestimating the whole number of printings thing. I mean, 10th edition, Darksteel, Phyrexia vs. Coalition, Magic 2010, 2011, Mystery Booster, and Plane Chase.
Mm-hmm.
None of those are on the scale of like, oops, it was in like Commander 2019 Precon.
Yep. Nothing since C16, so it's been a long time since it's even been printed.
But also they're printing cards that are better than this, and people are still hanging on.
Yeah, that is also true. Well, it's probably
giving it Shroud is like, it's tough if you want to put other stuff on the creature.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it could be a result. Obviously, we use EDHREC a lot here, but and Jason, you can maybe speak to this a little bit. But is any of this a possibility of somebody looking at a deck that runs Whisper Silk Cloak, seeing it, and then they put it into their list, and then it kind of builds on itself, and people just sort of get lost of the cards that are better? Or what is that something that you think is a factor at all?
I think that is more of a factor when a card is in a pre-con and people don't take it out. This is a card that's getting added, so like people have a chance to discover better cards.
Yeah.
So this is really just a reflex. It's just people put it in a lot of lists because they always have, and then people see it in the lists. And I'm sure there's a bit of a feedback loop there, but like the people who don't have EDHREC data when they build their decks, you know, and the first couple people to register them on the sites that EDHREC scrapes, those people aren't going off EDHREC data unless they're trying to find like an equivalent commander, and they're like, well, this is running a lot of those. Plus, EDHREC data only goes back about 2 years, so people are continuing to put this in decks. It's not because people played this a lot in 5 years ago, because we aren't seeing that data on the site. So
I think that's a great point.
EDHREC is a reflection of like the current reality, and if it's overrepresented, that's because people still think it's the card they should be running.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys in that the Shroud almost seems, like a drawback when you can play other, your Swiftfoot Boots exists, right? And the other cards like that. But yeah, I mean, I suppose you mix that with Unblockable. It is a very good pairing.
And DJ
of abilities
will occasionally pick something like Trailblazer's Boots or like that mask or the helm that they gave the creature. There are other ways to make the creatures basically unblockable. It's like, can only be blocked by walls. I'm like, so it's unblockable.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give it Shroud, but it doesn't give it Shroud. So.
Yeah. All right.
Shroud is a double-edged sword.
Which was much healthier design than Hexproof, I had to say.
Yeah. And it's funny because there was Hexproof in Mirrodin.
Oh, what's that? The original Mirrodin?
Troll Ascetic.
Troll Ascetic was a card in Mirrodin.
Yeah, you're right.
So it was one set before Darksteel, which...
Yeah, and Troll Aesthetic, for those who don't know, when I first got into Magic around 20...
Corbin, it's Corbin. It's not Troll Aesthetic.
Sure, man. Troll Aesthetic.
It's...
Very important distinction.
Yes.
I think that, I mean, when I got into Magic, that card was competitively played for a fair amount of time, at least a number of years after that in different formats because of how powerful Hexproof was. Except at that time, it was just, Troll Shroud. Isn't that what people called it?
They did.
Yeah.
And it was a messed up card. You turn 1 Birds, turn 2 Troll, turn 3 Umazawa's Jita, and they were like, well...
So
I actually would get around Troll Aesthetic by bouncing my own with Echoing Truth.
Oh, gosh.
You can target your own with Echoing Truth, and it bounces theirs. Make a Jite fall off. Those were good days.
See the differences between Hexproof and Shroud on display right here. Bounce your own creature to bounce theirs.
People used Echoing Decay, too. That was brutal because they couldn't regenerate.
All right, well, there you go.
Good times.
Yeah, that is a bit of a throwback right there.
Mid-2000s competitive Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
I mean... played tooth and nail decks or you lost.
Well, these days, speaking of competitive Magic, Modern Horizons 2 is going to completely shake up Modern. And it seems like most people think it's going to be in a healthy way. People seem very excited about Modern Horizons 2. Now, we're working on, in the future, maybe getting some insight into, Wizards brought in some pros to work on this set with them. So they could, try to really tailor it to Modern. We're hoping to bring some of that insight on here in the future. But in the meantime, we are deep into the preview like season. That. Well, I said trying. We'll see how it goes. We've got a lot of just wild cards here. So much. And we'll talk about what we like and don't like. But I have to say, this seems like a massive shakeup to Modern. But not in a Euro way. Right? It's not like they're printing one card that's just so broken and standard that everyone's going to play it.
I don't see any Hogax in this set.
Yeah, I am hesitant about Grief.
Yeah.
Well, Brad Nelson, we talked about this last week.
I know.
I thought this card is messed up until I remember I play tested it 6 months ago. So not only did he think it was fine, he forgot about it.
That's a good point.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Yeah, I mean, this set is it's got a lot of upgrades for a lot of decks, and then continues
it's made some decks that it's like this is an upgrade to Enchantress. Enchantress basically didn't really exist in Modern,
right.
So
right.
It made some decks.
Yeah, they very much took a targeted approach to this, in that they're going to insert cards into the format that look and feel a little like Legacy, even if they're not quite Legacy. And that's why, this Evoke cycle, subtlety and grief and the rest of the cycle, where you get, grief is basically an unmask equivalent. We already have a force, and
I really want the red version of this card to just make a pair of 3/1 tramplers that don't have haste and die at the end of the turn.
Somebody photoshopped the red one to be basically a Splinter Twin, and then he got a lot of people with that.
That's an interesting take on that. But they are wildly shaking this up. So we've got these targeted printings, right? We've got Ignoble Hierarch for Jund. We've got I can't say this, I don't know how you say it, but Sveljun of Sea and Sky, the Merfolk God. I'm excited. We got Rishiden Dockport.
You get to decide how to pronounce that card. Everyone else has to follow suit.
Fair. So they're putting a lot of targeted cards for different archetypes into the format. We're also seeing a fair amount of Hardened Scales type support. We're also seeing them attempt to make a Legacy-style Reanimator deck with Unmarked Grave, searching for a non-legendary card to put into your graveyard for 2 mana. And then there's a reanimation spell that exists as well.
And sicko payoffs in this set, like Archon of Cruelty.
That's right. Archon of Cruelty being an 8-mana 6/6 flyer in black. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, targeted opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker, discards a card and loses 3 life. You draw a card and gain 3. That's pretty powerful. Ooh. A little mini ultimatum right there. That is a pretty strong reanimation target, I think, especially given that you can do it when it comes into play. But then we've got targeted reprints. We've got Imperial Recruiter. We've got stuff like Wonder, Braid's Cabal Minion of all things, Solitary Confinement. You mentioned Enchantress. There's a lot going on with this set. It feels like people are excited about the future of Modern because, as powerful as these cards are, they're also familiar.
They also decided everything good needs to be green.
Well,
like,
that's, yeah.
We're sick of green not having Yawgmoth's Will. We're sick of green not having Urborg.
I don't know if that Yawgmoth's Will does anything though.
It doesn't matter. It breaks the color pie.
Does it? Has green never had regrowth?
Correct.
Like a regrowth, Eternal Witness, all of that stuff. It seems very.
Does Eternal Witness let you play all the cards out of your graveyard?
It lets you
put slowly, one card back in your hand.
Slowly. It slowly lets you play all the cards in your graveyard.
Good point.
I think
those are the same thing.
I think I'm with Jason on this one.
It's in this color pie.
I don't know if it'll be good though, but so how about this though? Let's talk about what this means for Commander. Well, we don't know what's going to happen competitively. We see tools for a lot of the top archetypes, but we also don't know. Remember, Modern Horizons 1 existed, had a lot of the same stuff. Remember, they previewed Cabal Therapist first. It's Cabal Therapy, everybody. No, it wasn't. It's unplayable.
Narrator, it wasn't.
Yeah, everyone forgets it existed. And instead, Hogak and then Urza sort of stole the show for Modern Horizons 1 and so on. Even if a lot of the stuff from that set did hit as it was intended to. But then we hit the standard power levels that just made everything kind of look silly in retrospect. But I don't think it's been quite as egregious the last few sets. So if we are entering a period where Modern's going to be able to settle down a little bit with Modern Horizons 2 coming in and not just get blown up by Uro every 3 months in the newest set, I think that is a good future for Modern because people are excited about it right now. The format seems to be in a decent place entering Modern Horizons 2 after all the bannings they did. So I got to say, I'm pretty excited just to see what comes of this, coming out on the other side of the pandemic, people getting back to in-paper events. I really think Modern is going to be primed to take off. And Ragavan, the nimble pilferer, is going to be a part of that. Jason, I know you have some thoughts on this, the Monkey Pirate.
The Monkey Pirate is the kind of shit I like to do in EDH. And This is the second happiest they could make me. The most happiest they could make me is be like, hey, Aladdin should be legendary. Because his name's Aladdin. So that would make me happy if they were like, we can retroactively make all hounds dogs. Why can't you make all Aladdins? And Ali from Cairo. He's the Ali from Cairo. He's not one of the Alis from Cairo. But I guess where do you stop? Do you make Valakut legendary like it should be? I don't know. The point is...
The world tree.
it's a world trait. If it's legendary, how come both players can have one? Ragavan does really disgusting stuff, and he may be one of the best red 1-drops ever printed. My goodness.
2/1 for 1 when it deals combat damage to a player. Create a treasure token, exile the top card of their library. You can play it till end of turn. You can dash it for 2, which means it'll outpace and return to your end
card, which means you can't get lands, and it means you have to use the right colored mana.
Which is helpful because of the treasure.
You get from treasure tokens, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a powerful card. I don't know if it's, I look at Modern specifically for Ragavan. Is this card Goblin Guide? I don't know.
It doesn't have haste.
Exactly. It doesn't, unless you dash it, but which is also what's cool because it's an aggressive red 1-drop that maybe doesn't go in a Goblin Guide deck, which is sort of a neat little niche if they found it. I don't know. Maybe this card's so good you do just play it in your Goblin Guide deck, but I don't know. It doesn't have prowess, which is what a lot of those red-based decks look like. I don't know that a burn deck really wants it. The burn deck now has Flame Rift. It probably just wants nothing but spells.
Yeah, prowess decks don't necessarily want to be playing spells post-combat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know. I don't know where Ragavan's going to fit in, which is great. It's not just like, it's Goblin Guides 5 through 8. Chalk it up, move on. That's kind of boring, right? This is way neater. There's a lot of thought process with it.
The flavor and design of the card Damn is just... that card is a work of art.
Yeah.
From a power level standpoint, whatever, but from a design and flavor and just actual person that created this piece of artwork, it is just everything fits together so well.
This is possibly my favorite card in the set.
I think it's a red-blue variant called Tarnation.
For those who don't know, Damn is the black sorcery. Destroy target creature dealt damage this way can't be regenerated. Overload for 2 and 2 white. That's Wrath of God. So
I do like that the flavor that when God kills someone it's black, but when God kills everybody it's white.
That's true. That's
the flavor from that is beautiful. Watching somebody cast this in a Modern event, where not X equals 4, but watching them overload it and then watching it get spell snared will be beautiful.
Oh, does that work? I didn't realize that.
It's a 2 CMC. You can spell snare it. It's being cast for its overload cost, but
what is CMC?
Oh, sorry, mana
value.
Mana value, yeah.
We can say if I insist that we say EDH, we can say CMC.
No
Any
kidding.
3-letter thing has KFC.
Well, I'll tell you all, Esper Control has been a player in Modern over the last few months, and this card is just obviously kind of unreal in that deck, right? There's your 2-mana removal spell, another Wrath.
It's no non-black or anything, or no restrictions. It's pretty
really, really cool card. But here's also one that I want to call attention to because I don't know, where these prices will be at in a month from now, but Sanctifier in Vec, I think, is a really interesting card given how expensive Auriok Champion was for a long time. Sanctifier in Vec is a 2/2 for 2, white, protection from black and red. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards that are black or red from all graveyards. If a black or red permanent spell or card not on the battlefield would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Woo. So I just want to walk down everything this covers here. 1, this is a human. And that is obviously a Modern archetype. That's worth considering. Protection from black and red was already really good against Jund-type decks. This card exiles all your opponent's Croxes. It also messes with any black or red card that gets milled into someone's graveyard. So all those dredge decks with their Silver Smoke Golems and whatnot. And I believe even the Creeping Chills, these things all get turned off by Sanctifier Invec. And look, I don't know, obviously, what that's going to look like in this format, which, walking down the list, now also has Braids, Upheaval, Karmic Guy, just all these enormously historically powerful cards. I have no idea if the 2/2 for 2 will ever be relevant, but I do know that Croxa is a pretty good card, and Dredge is a pretty good deck, and this shuts them both down.
I think those historically, like, super annoying to play around cards got put in because they're fine, which means it's like Upheaval isn't Upheaval anymore.
Yeah,
I agree.
We don't have Psychotog running around, so like,
yeah.
Upheaval's in because it's not Upheaval. So like, I think the fact that like it got reprinted means it won't be fine.
I'm with
you.
That
kind of sucks, right?
So
well, it's to me, in my Magic playing experience, going back, I guess like 13-ish years at this point, I never played a format besides Cube with Upheaval. If that, like, Upheaval's always just been a Cube card to me, and it seems like a good reprint for that purpose.
It's not allowed in EDH because it doesn't let one person keep all their permanents. It's not super duper unfair, therefore it's not allowed.
Yeah, Auriok Champion, by the way, still $50 right now. I would assume that price is going to come down, as that is seems to be much worse than the Paladin in
I think they filled somewhat different roles, but
you gain life
to an extent, yeah. Like, well, the thing is, Auriok Champion's probably better in specifically against red decks where you want life gain, burn or whatever. Yeah. But Sanctifier Invec has so much more variety of things it kind of
like,
covers.
This is a rest in peace maybe that attacks. It's not like it's not an anti.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean this. Well, it also just blocks, right? This card pressures the hell out of your Jund opponents, very very strongly
all day.
Yeah, it's protection from Liliana. It messes with their
it's
graveyards.
Not protection from Liliana. They can make you sack it.
Sure, if it's your only creature in play, sure.
They can block with their ignoble hierarch.
It's true. Anyways, it just seems like a powerful card to me, and it is a really nice one into the format. And oh, by the way, Imperial Recruiter reprint.
Yeah, I mean that one's whatever. That's fine. I read
it's getting reprinted because it's not going to matter.
Yeah,
I mean it'll impact Modern in a good way. Yeah.
I read Suspend, and I was like, this is the most gorgeous, beautiful, flavorful mono blue. But oh wait, Teferi 3 mana exists. I was like, this card's so cool. It's so interesting. Oh wait, Teferi 3 mana exists. This card's God damn it. I was like, oh, you can suspend it and then pull from Eternity to kill it, and that's awful. But maybe there's other weird niche cards that see play that make this. Oh wait, no.
It's
suspend pull from Eternity seems like a good 2-card combo. Then it's like you invented Anguished Unmaking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's bad, but there's like theoretically other things you can do that make it interesting. Where you're like, oh, maybe I play Wasteland Strangler and Esper now to like get a bit more value, and it like makes you think. And then you're like, oh wait, no, there's only one 3 mana Esper card that actually matters that you play at sorcery speed, and it's the one that shuts off your opponent from playing Magic.
Should I bad cop? We're being a couple of good cops.
Well, here's where we should go.
Bad cop this whole set review.
We should go to this. We should talk Commander and or EDH with the set. Jason, what is the set looking like as far as early on what people want for Commander?
This set's bullshit. Tireless Provisioner. Yeah. Oh, you know what card really needed a strict upgrade? Lotus Cobra. Yeah. Lotus Cobra was pretty garbage, and I think that card needed a boot in the ass. So here you go. Every time you play a land, you get a mana whenever you want it, just not that turn.
And it's a token, and it's a thing you sacrifice, and you sacrifice it for Corvold, so you draw cards too.
I love Tireless Provisioner, y'all.
It's uncommon.
Yeah, I love it. That card is awesome. You get a treasure.
We missed Tireless Tracker on the original set review. Because it was T alphabetically, and we were tired. By the time we got to T in the alphabet, we're like, can we yada 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 the rest of this bullshit set? None of us talked about Tireless Tracker. Let's talk about Tireless Provisioner and how a card this is. And it's uncommon. Do we need that? Do we need Upheaval back? Do we need Flame Rift? do we need Glimpse of Tomorrow? As much as I love it, I don't know. Glimpse of Tomorrow.
God.
Another Warp World.
About it being uncommon, about it being uncommon, the bulk from this set will be insane. There are so many uncommons that people are gonna crack their whatever set booster collector ghost rare mythic packs or whatever, and they're gonna yeet every card that is not the one they wanted out the window. And this set will have so many good uncommons, like Timeless the stupid Witness. Thing that makes crabs, like the Scuttle Tide. That's gonna be nuts. The mill cards,
Eternalized Witness. There's just everything. The set is unreal.
Every uncommon in this. The anti Planeswalker Boom Boom spell. Gorilla Shaman reprint in Modern Border.
Greed is uncommon now.
Yep.
It's always been
everything.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Mog Salvage, baby.
Yeah, what
Finally, people will play Mog Salvage. You don't even know what it does. If an opponent controls an island and you control a mountain, you can destroy an artifact for free.
I want to...
Amazing.
If somebody... I mean, this is a stretch, right? This is, like, never going to happen. But if somebody gets this card to be altered, like, if somebody alters this card and then plays it against Jason, with the art being the PogChamp guy... It's Pog... I'll give him $50 store credit.
Liquid Metal Torque... Was Liquid Metal Coating terrible? Were people looking at Liquid Metal Coating and be like, this doesn't even tap for mana? What a shit card.
No, that was...
Zoran back.
I mean, we just don't need some of this stuff.
Do we need Cursed Totem back? Is that what we needed?
Yes.
Do we need Nevinyrral's God disc? Do we need more people who didn't have access to Nevinyrral's disc because they're too lazy to go to their LGS and buy one for a quarter? So they open in a booster pack and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to blow you out in a game of Limited with, your least favorite commander's favorite card.
Jason is heated, but I have to say though, in their defense, I think it's cool because not only do you put a Nevinyrral's disc out there for, your EDH purposes, I think that's probably what drives it. Who knows? Maybe some cool modern deck pops up with it. I think same with like Soul Talisman, right? Suspend 3, 1 mana, then it's a Soul Ring after that. That's a commander card. But oh, by the way, maybe it'll do something cool in
is that a
modern. Card? I mean, that's a good question, Jason. Is it? Do you like it?
Dana Roach kind of mildly defended it in Fringe cases today, and I just attacked him for giving this like a mild amount of support. I think he damned it with faint praise, and I needn't have piled on. I don't think it's great. If you don't have it in your opening hand, it's like it's Leyline of Soul Ring. If it's not in your opener, it's a dead draw always.
You ever play Lotus Bloom in Commander, Jason?
No, but when Lotus Bloom comes off suspend, it's like, here's 3 extra mana. I don't know.
Well, Lotus Bloom is a modern player, so it's possible that Soul Talisman could be.
Modern's a 5-turn format.
Sure. I mean, we don't know what it'll be now. But that's it. I was thinking about it in the modern context because of Lotus Bloom. And I think I play Lotus Bloom in like one commander deck, maybe. So I was with you. I was curious what you thought about it because I don't think I'm putting Soul Talisman into my decks.
No.
Yeah.
And people like Osgear, and I'm like, yeah, if you get this in the graveyard, Osgear can for 0 mana make you 2 Soul Ring tokens. So that's pretty cool. But like Osgear's kind of broken already, so like I don't know. I think Liquid Metal Torque's up card, and now I have 2 copies of Liquid Metal Coating, and I'm pretty psyched about that.
So here's a design topic. We haven't talked about this since like it's probably been like 4 years, I think. Modern Masters 2017 might be the last time we talked about this, but again, we get 600 new listeners every cast, so like they've never heard this. It really seems like this set could be, for lack of a better term, like they're just blowing their load.
A little bit, it seems that way.
Like, we've talked sometimes previously about like reprint equity and how they space out the good cards and spread them out at different rarities, and they very intentionally know what they're doing when they put X amount of value into a set, whether it's reprints or not, whether it's with new cards, but they don't print like all the super cool new cards in one set. And I'm not saying that like it's necessarily, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, Wizards, print more bad cards, please do it, but like there's a lot of design space here that could have been sprinkled elsewhere.
Yes, for years. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff that sells boosters of this set. Did we need the Arid Mesa?
Well, that's the thing. We needed none of it, right? All it took was fetches in this set to sell it. The fact that not only do we have obviously new cards that are very powerful and so on, Cabal Coffers is in here too, right? Like this is, and I'm with you though. They blew a lot of stuff here. So here's the question, DJ. If you think this feels to me like the kind of thing where if you do this twice over 5 years, I don't know how long ago the first Modern Horizons came out, 3 years ago or something. Every 3 to 5 years, I can see something like this. But if this is more, if this is less blowing the load every 3 to 5 years with all the cool modern ideas we have, and more of, well, this is what sets are now sort of thing, it could be terrifying.
Yeah, right? I mean, we've very much learned from precedent of Wizards. If something works, Wizards will do it to the point where it doesn't anymore.
Exactly.
It's like my daughter makes a joke and I laugh, and then she makes the joke 40 times. Yeah. And I'm not laughing anymore. She's like, but I made the joke.
Yep.
Yes.
This is farting at the dinner table. Modern Horizons 2 is farting at the dinner table. And like, if you try too hard to force a fart, you're gonna your pants. And I'm really worried about Wizards their pants.
And I mean, like,
analogy.
I'm already hearing the player feedback from me bringing this up as a negative thing and saying like, but it helps the prices of cards. But DJ, like the more amazing cards they put in the set, like the more the prices come down, and then like I get to buy my Cabal Coffers for $30.
Yeah. I mean, it's an unlimited run. Yeah.
Like, to some extent, yes, but, like, that also just doesn't happen sometimes. Like, Modern Masters 2017 was the best example of this, where it's like, they printed every super cool reprint you could ever want in Modern Masters 2017, and then 3 weeks later, the boxes were, like, double MSRP.
Yeah.
And yes, that was a limited print run, but, like, that still scales of, like, if the demand is so great, then, like, you don't have prices go down.
Wasn't Jumpstart an unlimited print run? And look how.
Oh, I mean, Jumpstart has like a giant asterisk next to it of like a lot of other problems of like pandemic plus like the collation of the cards and how they are opened and like logistical, physical problems with like the wrapping and also just like the fact that there's literally 500 cards.
But here's the thing. The other thing to note about the unlimited print run, because that's a big deal in the sense that they didn't have this with any of the previous Masters sets. They're pulling the Band-Aid off. They're saying,
well, this is an unlimited
print. Well, exactly. But, whatever. Kind of feels
Modern
the same.
Horizons wasn't a limited print run either.
Right. And yet that still had some very expensive cards, which is what I'm getting at here. Because even if it's an unlimited print run, what that means is they will continue printing it and selling it to distributors so long as distributors are selling it to everyone else and asking for it. But that doesn't last indefinitely. At some point you get 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road, and people are moved on to the next thing. And you don't just have boxes of it selling like crazy. And then stuff starts climbing up in price once it's out of print, even though it's an unlimited print, right? Because there's still, it's not gated by number, but it is gated by time.
And demand.
Right. So it's I think it's just something to keep in mind that just because it's an unlimited print run, that's the banner headline on it or whatever. It doesn't mean that these cards are going to be dirt cheap. It doesn't mean your fetches are going to be $10 because in 3 months we'll be on to the Innistrad again or whatever, right? And everyone will be over this and there won't be boxes of it being popped anymore. And then you're just going to see all these cards start to go up. And I hope to pick bulk of this set for the rest of my life. This set is wild.
Yeah, for sure. And like it just makes you wonder, we did this with the expeditions too. It's like Battle for Zendikar, super cool expeditions. Okay, cool, super cool lands. This is interesting. These are going to be great. And then Kaladesh artifacts. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. These are Soul Ring, beautiful $1,000 Soul Ring, whatever. And then it's like, okay, Amonkhet Vacations. We're running out of ideas. We gotta fill 40 slots. Sunder, shit, sure, ship it. Diabolic Edict, yeah, I guess, whatever. And yeah, some of those are worth money now just due to scarcity.
Isn't it
and all
so
that,
funny how there's like every card could get the old border treatment, but when it was time to do the invocations, they couldn't come up with 25 cards without like putting a bunch of shit in there, right?
Yeah. I think it's the focus on Commander goes a long way.
It's like the set is due. It's going to the printers. You have 5 minutes. You're like, comet storm.
Black Vise.
And then
Black
like
Vise.
they did masterpieces to death, and like they could very well do Modern Horizons design to death in terms of like we get Modern Horizons 3 and it's like what's left, and maybe they'll surprise us, maybe there'll be a bunch of insane crazy weird designs, but it'll definitely leave Modern being unrecognizable again, and whatever deck that you built where you're like, okay, this is going to be my Modern deck for 4 years, it won't be viable.
Right, so, and that's what I think the last point I want to make on this is that it seems like with Modern Horizons 1 and 2, they came in with some clear goals, especially with Modern Horizons 2. But Modern Horizons 1, you look at Force, stuff like that, right? You can see what they were doing. They had a plan to make this slightly different and worse than Legacy, but good in its own way. And in a lot of cases, they succeeded, say Force and Negation. And in this set, well, there's no Swords to Plowshares, but you've got these evoke creatures instead, right? You've got Solitude, and you've got Merfolk Lords, and you've got all this different stuff. And it's cool, and it'll shake it up. But the thing is, you're right about doing it to death. If they do this again 2 years from now, and the format gets turned on its head again, I may be like, well, why did I buy all those old bordered foil whatever, right? If they're going to do it, if they, the format can only undergo this type of shakeup so often. So I'm with you. This is great.
Yeah, like I don't want to have somebody have the grand takeaway from this be that like I hate Modern Horizons 2 or that I think it's a bad idea or whatever. It's just like a very good question to ask and very good feedback to keep in mind and just implement when you're like talking to designers or developers, or if you're having that level of conversation where you're providing constructive criticism on the set or things that went well, things that didn't go well, just like looking at it from like a grand perspective, from like a design standpoint, because it's not always just like reprints go burr, cards be good.
Moderation is the key, as they hopefully know, because they put a card named Moderation into the set.
You know what has moderation? Our Discord. If you go to patreon.com/BSB and give us $1 a month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode, you can have access to the Discord server where you can give us a hard time in person.
Nice.
Excellent.
Or
you could subscribe at $20 and get these handsome drinking glasses, the playmats, the tokens, all kind of stuff we give out. We're giving out new glasses. They're not pint glasses, they're tulip glasses for your fancy beers that you listen to our podcast while you drink, like me. Or you could have valuable insight about EDH, which is what I want to talk about. Real briefly, we don't have much time left, but I do want to talk about what's going on preliminarily with the 13 commanders that are spoiled so far. Not a surprise, currently Chatterfang is leading, but Yusri Fortune's Flame is right behind.
Which one is that?
Coin flips.
Yusri is the coin flipper. You choose a number between 1 and 5, flip that many coins, and you do so for each coin you flip, you win. Yusri is, people saw coin flips and all the usual suspects that have popped back up. So I think you already know what's in the coin flip deck. But if you don't, go to EDH Rec, check out Okun's Split or Yusri, Fortune's Flame, or some of the old coin flippy commanders. You could type in Krark's Thumb and see the decks that are associated with Krark's Thumb and the cards that are associated with that card. There's no wrong way to use EDH Rec to see what people are building in those decks. Because, yeah, the obvious stuff all spikes, but, like, there are 100 cards in a Commander deck. And when people who don't play Commander buy the obvious 1 or 2 cards, there's still 97 chances for you to find something that's undervalued. Or just buy it because you need the deck, and you can just wait for Krark's Thumb to go back down when everyone's like, yeah, we don't actually like this deck. Lonus Cryptozoologist is number 3 right now. Garth One Eye is number 4, but it's played at third as much as Lunus. And Thrasta, Ferris, Rockyrek, Piru, and Karth are all above 10 decks right now, but Ragavan just got spoiled today, and there's already 7 decks, so I kind of think that'll be a thing that gets up there. I think Ragavan could give Chatterfang a run for its money, but the set doesn't have any Urzas so far, and it doesn't have any Hogaks so far. So, like, of the legendary creatures they gave us, this all looks pretty,
I do
decent.
not think dumb mono red monkey will get anywhere near the community fervor that is squirrels.
I mean, maybe, but you don't have to actually buy any of the cards and put the Squirrel deck together to make the deck list on, on Archideck. So, I don't think that's a weakness of EDH Rec. I just think, we're doing the wisdom of the crowds thing, right? On Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, by far the best lifeline is ask the audience, even though you're like, oh, this is a question about archaeology. Well, my buddy Steve is an archaeologist. Let me call him. And still phone a friend is a worse lifeline than ask the audience. Wisdom of the crowds, just for whatever reason, an average good-sized crowd is going to have enough people like, I think I read that, versus one person who's an expert. So you know what? I defer to EDH Rec. Even if I think something's wrong, I'll be like, this many people said they're playing it. So I don't argue with data. Yeah,
that's a great way to look at it. Great way to put it. And speaking of data, it is time for our picks of the week, which you can find the data on our spreadsheets. If you're a member of our Patreon, you get access to these whenever you want. You can look at our picks going back years. So let's get things started.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All of our picks come courtesy of mtgstocks.com, where we go to look up prices, where you see all these great price graphs in our cast if you're watching on YouTube at youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery. So I'm going to get things started here with a card that has gone up about $1 in 2021 from Ether Revolt. It's a mythic, Indomitable Creativity. It's a $3 mythic out of Ether Revolt. It's come up from $2 this year, but now it's always been sort of a combo card. It's 3 mana X. Destroy target X artifact or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals until they hit an artifact or creature and put it into play. So this is sort of your polymorph type card that has, over the last couple of years, led to some deck designs. And I have to say, with everything we're getting in Modern Horizons 2, and the fact that it's a mythic, and the fact that it's already started to climb some, means that I think this card's probably headed towards a minimum of $5 and possibly much more. In that first month or so of Modern, all it's going to take is people top 8ing online events, some paper events come back. It's not going to take much, and there's going to be a lot of brewing. You're going to see a lot of cards, I think, pop off in Modern over the rest of 2021. And I think Indomitable Creativity at $3 is a pretty nice sort of mythic lottery ticket.
Yep. I mean, the deck, it's sort of like a Narset EDH deck where you get Velomachus into play, and then you smack them a bunch with infinite turns and value cards. I have Dictate of the Twin Gods, which is a mono red Furnace of Wrath that with flash from Journey into Nyx. It has 1 promo and then 1 printing and Journey into Nyx. And this card is quietly crept up from $1 to $2.50 or $3. You can still find them randomly. I'm sure there's one in your LGS binder box or whatever for $1. But I continue to sell these nowadays for $2.99 on TCG Direct, and they sell consistently more often than I buy them for. So this is going to be $4.99 and then $5.99 before too long.
That's actually a great pick, DJ. I didn't realize this had even crept off the.
Every time I say
market.
Smart words, you always say actually.
Yep.
You're
That's
like, wow.
Subtle condescension.
You're like, wow, this is actually a good pick.
Yep. I've noticed that multiple weeks. Corbin thinks that you're a complete moron, and somehow every week you surprise him, but he's never updated his initial impression of you.
The two
Corbin
of you
fought hard not to have you on this podcast.
That's it, yeah. The two of you put more thought into what I just said there than I ever have. That's good to know, though. That's one of those, we work on this cast sometimes about, one of the things about public speaking is you work to cut out the ums and all of that sort of thing, you might be right. I might have a bad,
to your colleagues.
I might have a bad habit of using the word actually to show emphasis. That's a good point. How about I try that again? DJ, Dictate of the Twin Gods is a great pick because I did not realize this had climbed up off the bulk mat. I almost certainly have some of those pre-release versions floating around in boxes. I like this one a lot.
Yep. And then you just said 6 times.
Yeah, we're working on the ums.
No, we're not. Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
This is the perfect confluence of coin flip plus extra turns. Those things are both so hot right now. Every garbage extra turns card is in play right now, and this is a coin flip card, and yet it's under $10. Stitch in Time. This saves $9 if you buy it now. So buy Stitch in Time and save $9. I don't know. Just buy this stupid spec, idiot.
There you go. Just buy this stupid spec, idiot. I think that's the.
Oh, hey, chance encounters $13. Oh, okay. So the only coin flip card worth more than $10 got reprinted. Interesting. So it seems like you have a lot of chances to make some money. Oh well, I guess Kark's Thumb is the coin flip card worth more than $10, huh? But even Karplusan Minotaur, which was in Cold Snap, a set nobody bought because all the cards were at the time. That's under $10. So hey, I don't think this stays under $10 because you got two different chances for it to go up. It's coin flip, it's extra turns. Bada boom, bada bing. Everyone's building bad decks.
And there you go. I think that will do it for us this week. We got picks of the week. What do you all think about Modern Horizons 2? Let us know in the comments. Remember, if you're on YouTube, you can like and subscribe and ring that bell icon to get notified of our new videos. If you want to check out our stream, you can do so at twitch.com/Brainstorm Brewery. That's what we're off to do right now. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who goes to patreon.com/BSB and joins our community. Our Discord is great. We love all of you who are here. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.